Hi, my name is Eric Albrecht, and this is my leadership philosophy. First off, what is leadership? So, leadership for me is a never ending process to understand our constituents and understand what their needs are and how to serve those needs and try and build relationships with them that are genuine and aren't just based in the workplace. It's all about putting people in the right position to succeed and not exposing them to their weaknesses, but putting them in positions where they can succeed so that the organization as a whole can succeed together. And it's not about being in charge. So someone can be in charge without necessarily being a leader, but a leader is someone who people just choose to follow, not someone who's appointed to lead them. And one of the most important parts of leadership is that leaders effectively lead change and don't stick to the status quo. So, my progression of leadership has changed a lot throughout this course. The most notable ways are that whenever we started this course, I saw leadership as something that was like this end goal, like this state that you had to get to. But now I see it as more of a process because no one ever just quits being a leader or achieves being a leader and then doesn't need to work at it anymore. It's something that's constantly changing and evolving over time. As our followers change, leaders have to change to adapt to them. Also, at the beginning of the course, I thought about how I could be a leader rather than about the leader follower relationship and how we as leaders get followers to achieve superior goals and how it's more about us as a group rather than the leaders being separate from the followers because it is a relationship. Also, at the beginning of the course, I thought being a leader was more about being in charge of others, but now I realize it's more about getting people or allowing them, putting them in positions to where they can reach their potential and be their best true self. And also, leaders have to be good role models at the beginning of the course. Not that I didn't think leaders had to be good role models, but I thought it was more important that they were just in a position where they were in charge of other people rather than a position where people looked up to them regardless of their job title. What is management? So management focuses on producing results and getting everyone to work towards a common goal. The key part of being a manager is consistency and consistently getting results and being as efficient as possible. And managers are generally appointed by others to lead rather than appointed by their followers to lead them. Management versus leadership. So the main differences between management and leadership is, like I said, so managers are more focused on consistency. Leaders are more focused on leading change. Managers are focused on organization and keeping things stable. And leaders are more about adapting to situations and empowering others to try and do better. But managers don't necessarily empower others. They just want to make sure that their results are met and they're very results driven. But whenever you do have a manager that's an effective leader as well, then you can achieve superior levels of success because you'll have someone who can focus on those results as well as being able to adapt to things as they happen and lead change as it's needed and really empower the employees to want to work for them rather than just encourage the employees to hit their numbers for the month. My personal values. So the most important thing for me is honesty, because without honesty, it's impossible to build any relationship. If you don't trust someone, then how can you expect, or how do you follow their lead, or how do you expect to lead them? The next most important for me is improvement. I want all followers of me to constantly want to improve. I don't like whenever people just become content with being where they're at. I want them to always want to get better, the same way that I'm always trying to improve myself and trying to figure out how I can better myself. Third is teamwork. It's really important to be able to work as a part of a team, because if you can work as part of a team, then you can be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. If you're not team oriented, then you're just focused on your own results, and then it's preventing you from being as good as you can be because you're not a part of that team. And my fourth value is diversity. I think diversity is really important because it allows you to have a lot of different people's input who come from different backgrounds, don't share the same experiences, and really gives you a wide range of potential solutions. And even though it may cause conflict, it'll be beneficial conflict that'll really get people to open up and understand things from other people's point of view. My expectations of others. So I expect others to have a high moral standard, have a positive attitude, persevere, give maximum effort, and always desire to improve, as I said. So the most important for me is to always have a positive attitude and always give maximum effort, because without someone giving their full effort, then I don't really know if they don't fully trust me and don't want to. I think effort's a sign of trust. And so if someone trusts someone else, then they're going to put in their full effort for that person and getting their work done. On the peer feedback for these, so one of the people I had peer review told me that they thought I had too high of expectations, and another said, would you really want to follow a leader who expected this much from their followers? And so I thought about that, but I don't want to lower my standards of what I expect from others if it's important to me. And these are all really important to me, even though it may seem unrealistic to get someone's maximum effort every day. It's what I expect of others, because that's how I try and act, or for everyone to have a positive attitude every day. But that's what I expect of others, and just to leave everything else out of the workplace, because that's what I expect myself to do. For my behaviors and attitudes, so I'll be respectful, empathetic, a positive role model, motivational, and create an open environment. So the most important for me is to be a positive role model for others, because I really want to be someone that people can look up to and be an effective leader. Having an open environment is also really important to me, because I want to create an environment where all ideas are welcomed and no one feels that they're not being heard or that they don't have a say in how things go. Because if we're not listening to everyone, then there could be better solutions to the way we're doing things out there that we're not hearing. For my peer feedback on this, so someone said that I didn't really say why respectfulness was important, which was fair, because in my paper I just said what would happen if you're not respectful and how you need to be respectful in the workplace without really saying why. And someone also said that being a positive role model they felt was implied for leaders, so they didn't think that I need to include it. And while I agree that it should be implied, I do want to include it, because I think that sometimes people don't realize that as a leader, others are always watching their moves and not just seeing what they do in the workplace, that they're constantly representing who they are as a leader, regardless of where they're at. For my preferred method of feedback, so I prefer that people come to me if they see that my actions aren't lining up with my leadership philosophy, because I don't want it to build over time to the point where I stray from my leadership philosophy whenever they see ways that I can improve. And also I'm always looking for ways to improve, because I know there are going to be times where I stray from the leadership philosophy without realizing it, and it's good to get called out on that so that I can fix it then, because if one person's noticing it, then I'm sure several others are too, and that'll just help me be a better leader and a better person in general. My Strengths Finder assessment came back with restorative, achiever, relator, adaptability, and ideation. And the most important things on there for me, I felt like it aligned with me really well. But for restorative, it meant that I was adept at dealing with problems, and I kind of take pride in being a problem solver, not only at work, but in my personal life too. It's just something that I enjoy doing. And I have a strong work ethic. I'm a team player. And for ideation, I really like that I was a risk taker, because I've been working on trying to take more risks and getting myself out of my comfort zone. Even by going to grad school, I could have been content with the job I have, which I enjoy, and not take a risk and not have to take out a loan to go to grad school whenever I may not leave my current job. But it was a risk I was willing to take because I felt like it would make me a better person even if I don't use that degree for something. It's about working towards that and having that degree. And for applying my leadership philosophy in the real world, so it's useful in my day-to-day life because it's a blueprint of who we are, or who we want to be at least, and it affects all of our interactions with others, because like me wanting to be a positive role model. That's not just whenever I'm in a leadership position or a high position at work, because people are always looking up to you as a leader, and it's not about your job title. And it caused me to really reflect back, and I think it will, because it's something that'll constantly change. So in 5 years, I don't think I'll have the same leadership philosophy, and it'll cause for constant reflection of who I am, how I'm changing, how my followers are changing, and how I can better adapt to fit their needs. So my favorite author from this course was James Kouzes and Barry Posner with the Leadership Challenge book. And the main reason I liked it better was because of their natural storytelling ability, and there was a wide variety of stories. And it felt like I was just reading stories that were real world examples, but they were just all interesting to me, and I could really relate to them. And some of them I remember whenever they happened, and so it's cool seeing these examples of things I'm learning about that I heard about whenever they occurred. So my key takeaways from George were that all great leaders have flaws, and that they were successful leaders because they got put in positions where their strengths could be exploited and they weren't exposed to their weaknesses. And my key takeaway from Kouzes and Posner was all about finding your passion, finding something that you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about it, then you make others want to follow you, and then you can truly lead, and others will be excited to follow you. From Edersheim, it was all about the importance of keeping your employees happy, and how organizations are really only as good as their employees, and how knowledge workers are really like contracted labor, because they can take their exact knowledge and go to another organization if you don't keep them around. And by putting people in the right position to be better than they would be at another organization, it can help build loyalty, and it'll help get you better results and keep the employees happy. From Northouse, the most important part for me was about all the issues that women face in society as leaders, having or feeling the pressure to feel or to be feminine, while also feeling the pressure to be a leader, which most people associate as a masculine trait, and the double standards that they face. Even though that's changing over time, women still face discrimination when it comes to being a leader, or people won't respect them for doing the same thing they would respect a male for doing. My key takeaways from Wrath and Conchi were that the importance of understanding everyone's strengths and making a team greater than the sum of its parts by putting everyone in a position in which they can succeed, so that you can achieve superior results together as a team. And my key takeaways from James were that we need to be consistent in our actions and beliefs, and not say we believe something if we're not acting in a way in which we do believe in that. And don't deceive ourselves by going to church on Sunday and then not acting as a Christian Monday through Saturday. And we really need to make sure that our actions align with our beliefs. My key learnings from this course as a whole were the follower-leader relationship. I thought that was really important to understand that that is a relationship, and that followers are important, because without followers there aren't leaders. And not everyone is a leader, not everyone's a follower. It takes both of them and the relationship between them to be successful at either. And to really pay attention to what we're doing, and not just go through the motions of life and not think about why we're doing things. And last was the importance of setting boundaries. That was important for me, because I often just kind of let people walk over me, and then I let it build up over time. But it's important to set boundaries up front so that people know what's expected and what you won't tolerate. And that way you can build a successful relationship without resenting others over time. And I want to end with my most impactful action item from the course, and that was the fixed versus growth mindset. And that people who have a fixed mindset and think that people just start out knowing things and don't have to work at learning them aren't going to be as successful as people who have a growth mindset and have the mindset that they can learn anything. And I really like the quote that mindsets and not skill sets make the critical difference in taking on challenging situations, because anyone can overcome anything if they work hard enough at it. And it's important to have the mindset that that's the case so that you can truly achieve it.